All right, guys, what's going on? It's the insomnia's hit again, so yet it's another 1:30 in the morning video. Van Dyke is gone. I had a job interview that I think went really well today, and while I went out of town for the interview, on the way back, I hit an antique shop and I hit a Goodwill and found some pretty good stuff. And I didn't plan on the video. Usually, I try to get a pretty good haul to do a Howler hustle video, but there's a few things here, and I can just kind of slow down and talk about what I got, and because I got some good stuff for me. Okay, I mean, you talk about a nostalgic find today. Okay, so basically what we have is I have some paperbacks, I have some VHS tapes, I have some DVDs, and I got a few comics. So we'll just start with the paperbacks. Now, in the previous video, I talked about how Don Martin of Mad Magazine was a big thing for me, and I showed you some of the paperbacks I have. And it's just amazing how this happened because some of the stuff that I found, including these, I just talked about in a video or with somebody. Okay, but I found I found three Don Martin paperbacks from the 60s and 70s, and I could not believe I found these. Okay, I remember seeing them a couple months ago, but I think they were like $10. Then they went down to $5, and now they're down to $2. So I grabbed them, and these are what I read as kids, man. These are like my stepdads and uncles. But I found the first Captain Klutz by Don Martin. Okay, and this thing I don't care what shape it's in, I'll tape it up. This is for me. But this is the origin of Captain Klutz. This is Don Martin, doing his thing. Just hilarious. It's so freaking funny. Oh my gosh, it is so funny. And I mean, I read those a lot when I was a kid, just over and over. Uh, Mad's artist Don Martin bounces back. Some rich, goodness, some strips there to get the full page. Don Martin forges ahead, and I think this is the one I went through. I'm gonna have to find it again, but I was flipping through them when I got home since I couldn't sleep and stuff, and it was just amazing that as I read it, I could remember reading it the first time. I mean, I really had a little nostalgic moment there, being a little kid again. But my favorite one that was in here, I mean, it opened right up, so I'm kind of guessing that the person who had this, either this is the center of the book, or they laid it down, or they kept reading this one. This is the one that grossed me out when I was a kid. Don Martin, to me, is the original innovator of black humor. But it's the new back scratcher. So the guy scratches his back. It's gonna be gross, guys. I'm just warning you because it took me a minute. I remember it took me a minute to get what he did. So the guy scratches the top of his head. Okay, and he's getting into it. Scratches his armpit, and then all of a sudden he starts scratching his nose, and he looks at it, and this will take a minute, and he looks a little bit embarrassed, and he rubs it underneath the chair. He picked a booger. Okay, yeah, I showed that. And now this one, and it was no wonder I couldn't find this one because the way I remembered it, it was Don Martin, and it wasn't, man. It was a guy named Don Edwing. Okay, and I remember being about 10 years old reading this thing over and over. It was Mad's, oh my gosh, book of almost superheroes. And you old school guys should get the whole thing about the phone booth. Superman changed in it. All the we got in there. I remember this Don Edwing, man. I remember there's some strips where he was doing Hulk and all this stuff. But what I loved about this one is that you got an introduction to all the characters. That's in here. Scarlet Pimple and Captain Calamity and Captain Turnpike, Captain Toad. But my favorite one was Captain Spare Parts. A hero so bionic that he uses aluminum foil as toilet tissue. And when you're 10 years old, that is grade A comedy. Right up there with Richard Pryor, Robin Williams, George Carlin, and, Gallagher. All right. So the VHS tapes I got, yet again, a nostalgic trip. There's a story with this one, okay? This is a movie from '85, and it's Gotcha. It's got Anthony Edwards in it. Linda, I'm going to try to say her last name, but, there you go. Now the thing about Gotcha is that this is a classic '80s movie. It's right up there with like Cloak and Dagger and a few other things. People who play games and play spy and pretend and stuff, and all of a sudden it becomes true, and they're really in the midst of the real deal. But Anthony Liv, excuse me, what is the guy's name? Anthony Edwards in this. Okay, Anthony Edwards is running around the college campus with his friends, and they play a kind of a game of tag with I don't know if it was air darts or a gun or what it was, but it's harmless, and they kind of keep track and stuff. And then he takes a trip to Europe. Now it's been a while since I've seen this, so it might be in France or something. I mean, it's right in front of me here. I should read it. But anyway, he goes over there, and all of a sudden he's in the real spy game, and all he's got is his little toy gun that he plays with. You know, it seems like Now the deal is that when I was a kid before this came out, I ended up hanging out with older kids when I was little, and they would have cars and stuff, and I was out with them one day, and I want to say they had CBs. I mean, it's not as redneck as it sounds, because what would happen is that they played in couples. Guys with their girlfriends and stuff would hide their car around town. They would park somewhere, and it was a game of hide and seek, and they'd get on the CB and they would ask for clues until somebody found them. And I was in the car one time playing, tracking somebody down. Just thought this was pretty cool. This is pre-internet and in a small town. It was actually pretty cool, And so my friends, we didn't have cars or anything like that, and I wanted to play some kind of game like this. And there was some kind of toy out. I cannot remember what it was. It could not have been laser tag. Okay, the laser tag seems like it was a year or two later. But there was some kind of toy where I was like, we all need to get this. I even remember the store in the aisle that it's in, and I cannot remember what the toy was. And everybody thought it was stupid because you could use this toy, and I was like, we'll just spend our days, tracking each other down. It could be anywhere. You have to be on guard and stuff and everything like that. And everybody thought it was dumb. And then this Gotcha movie where the college kids are playing kind of what I was describing came out. My idea was before this and stuff, But this movie came out, and it seems like it was all over TV. TBS, Showtime, something, I don't know, HBO, who knows. But it was out, and I had seen, the movie, and I was just like shaking my head like, well, I thought of that first. And I remember walking through the mall, and I was beside of my mom, and maybe my grandmother too, and all of a sudden two of my friends ran by. One was running from the other one, and he shot him with whatever the toy was they had back then. And I'm just sitting, and they were like, you want to play? And I'm like, this was my idea. And I got the obnoxious, I should punch you now, but my mom is here. I hated it, but he got in my face, and he was like, I got in. You'll know this when I say it. I got the right in my face. Oh, okay. Then the other one I got is Jeff Bridges, Jane Fonda, The Morning After. I remember, and this is 1986. This is a year later. I remember going to watch the movie, and at the time I didn't have the words, but it kind of had like a Hitchcock feel. Basically, what happens is that she's an alcoholic, if I remember right, and she leaves with a guy and goes to his house. They have a one night stand, and when she wakes up the next morning, he's been murdered, and she's there, and she has a total, complete blackout because she's an alcoholic. And I remember her getting up and cleaning the whole place, getting rid of all the clues, and the cops coming in saying somebody did a professional job of cleaning this place up because they couldn't find anything. And I just remember it was real tense, man. So, and I've got a thing about Jeff Bridges movies after seeing The Big Lebowski. Every Jeff Bridges movie, no matter what character he's playing, to me, this is the life story of the dude all the way through. All the way to the last picture show. This is where the dude left town. Next movie I remember watching, chronologically was King Kong, and I'm like, oh, he left the last picture show, went to college, became a sociologist or whatever, whatever scientist he was in that, and then Starman took place, and then somewhere along the line, the dude did this for a while, it's kind of funny. They don't really connect, but I see the actor as that. Now, I stopped at the Goodwill, and when I stopped at the Goodwill, those were like 75 cents a piece, those VHS tapes. Now these were, I think $2 or $2.50 a piece. Even at a Goodwill. And these DVDs, whenever I walk in there and I hit a Goodwill and there's a high quality bunch of trade paperbacks of comics. You know, very rarely have I actually seen comic books. It's always trades, hardback editions, things like that. Or I find some DVDs that are in phenomenal shape, like they look brand new, and the movies are older, you know, well over a decade and stuff. I always picture this terrible event happening to somebody who took care of their stuff, and the only reason they would give it up is if something bad has happened, like a death in the family. You know, very morbid, I'll admit, but you know that's the only way I can wrap my mind around why such high quality, well taken care of DVDs would end up in a Goodwill. You know, and for nothing. But on a podcast last week, I was on with Tim Merritt, Tylox, the Mighty, and Scott, and it's getting bad. I know these guys by the real names, so I'm forgetting their YouTube handles. I think Tim and I, Spider-Man 2 came up. I think we were hoodooed. Somebody said that they were bringing back Tobey Maguire, and they couldn't believe that we actually read the comments and it was a joke. We ended up talking about the Spider-Man 2, and we talked about it had a moment there where when Doc Ock came to life in the movie, it went old Sam Raimi Evil Dead. So after we talk about it, I find it. And I find it, you can see the shine on it. 10 extra hours of features in the slipcase. Okay? I mean, this thing looks like it just got unwrapped. Both DVDs are in there. The DVDs are phenomenal. Not a scratch on them. You know, everything's in there. I was just like, wow, you know, for $2.50. So of course I'm going to think something bad has happened when somebody has taken care of it. And there was tons of DVDs. It had to have been their whole DVD collection and stuff. We got Dick Tracy, directed and starred Warren Beatty with Madonna on it. I had this on VHS. It's a guilty pleasure. And I also got The Shadow. And the thing about these movies that kill me is that Tim Burton's Batman had come out in '89, and then they had, you know, the second Batman Returns. And I think you know, when I watch these, I feel like that influence of the Tim Burton Batman is in there, and they didn't need them. So that's kind of why I was sort of like, I didn't like them when they came out. And now, you know, we know what this is. This is cool. It's got Al Pacino and everybody has, you know, some, you know, big guys. This one, I'm giving this a chance. When this came out in the theater, I didn't like it. Now I've talked to somebody about it, and they were like, "No, it's really good. Try it again." Years have gone by. That's what happened with me and Lebowski. I saw Lebowski in 1998 when it came out in the theater. The trailer made it look like it was supposed to be the new Maltese Falcon, and then I watch it, and I'm like, "What is this crap?" And it's years later, like 2005, when my friends were like, "Watch it again." And that's what I'm hoping happens with The Shadow, because listen to who's in this, okay? Peter Boyle from Young Frankenstein, Ian McKellen, okay? X-Men was not his first comic book movie. You know, this is more pulp and radio. Jonathan Winters and Tim Curry. You want to know how cool somebody is? Go to their movie collection and count the Tim Curry movies that are in it. All right? They get a cool kid point for every Tim Curry movie they have. And then I got this. This is by Michael Stipe of REM. He produced this. And this is called Velvet Goldmine. One of the best soundtracks you can get. This takes place. You got to know your David Bowie, your Izzy Stardust. You got to know your Iggy Pop, and I'm forgetting somebody, and Lou Reed, because these two characters are sort of meshed in the retelling of their like rock story. You know, they're kind of based there when you watch this, because they actually use the music of T-Rex and David Bowie, Izzy Stardust, just that glitter rock of the early '70s. That's very not underrated, because the fans are out there and it's got its spot, but you know, this kind of reminds you of it. But this has Ewan McGregor in it. This is around the time he was doing Star Wars. But I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, unless you know a lot about David Bowie and Lou Reed and Iggy Pop and some of the stuff they did, you may not be prepared for this. Okay, so it's very good. It's a rock opera. Okay, is how it is, man. The music tells the story, and they recreate the early '70s, but it's also a mystery. Christian Bale of Batman fame is a reporter there's a character in here that was Izzy Stardust, and David Bowie got rid of Izzy Stardust, but in this one, he fakes an assassination on stage as he's this version of Izzy Stardust. There's different names for all these guys, but you know who they are if you know your rock. So that's good stuff. On to the comics. Alright, I'm actually probably going to do a review on this one comic. I already had this, but it's good to have a reader's copy. These were all like maybe $1 a piece or something, right? This is Alan Moore's Swamp Thing number 46 from 1985. It's a Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover. And like I said, I want to save up and do a review because this was the book that actually brought me around to Alan Moore. I was about 12 when this came out, and I finally got it. It's Crisis crossover. But I'm going to show you the best thing about it. Okay, the best thing about this, which I can't believe I've forgotten all these years. One panel. Swamp Thing meets Commandy. Look really close. So I can actually say I have Alan Moore does Commandy. And this came out in '78. Okay, and I love my Tarzan. My favorite's DC's Joe Kubert Tarzan when it comes to the comics and stuff. But this is a Marvel Annual number 2. Came out in '78. And this was, I remember being about 5 years old. And Saturday mornings you had Filmation had a Lone Ranger Tarzan hour. On TV you had the Incredible Hulk, you had Wonder Woman, I think a Captain America movie might have come out, I know the Spider-Man movie had come out, so this was really a kind of a cool time to be a kid when it came to this stuff and have it around. Alright, I got this Rising Stars by Straczynski, J. Michael Straczynski, and I'm finding them left and right, so I'm picking them up, and this one actually has a weird misprint in it. You know, it's issue number 10, but when I got inside to look at all the legal, you know, little legal stuff that could, you know, it's on the inside of the cover and it's usually on the first page. I want to see what year it was. It was 2000, but it's listed as volume 1, number 1, but it's number 10. So I thought that was interesting. What else we got here? I completely forgot about this, but Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale had a Catwoman miniseries come out. So this is number 4. I'll back up and start trying to find these. Jeff Loeb, Tim Sale, you know, kind of made their mark with Long Halloween, Dark Victory, and all the stuff they did at Marvel. And then this one I got purely because, first of all, I'm a Legion of Superheroes fan, but I thought this was really cool. This is the Legionnaires, number 54 from the late 90s. But there's something going on where our Legion of Superheroes end up in the 1940s, and this becomes sort of an homage to Golden Age comics, as this is much an homage to the first appearance of the Justice Society of America in the 40s. And I love the costumes, man. Saturn Girl has the old turban, looks like she could do a seance. Triplicate Girl, you know, all in costume. Chameleon Boy. Let me see who we got here. Element Lad. You know, all retro costumes. Was this, I want to say that was Dream Girl, but don't take my word on it. No idea. Cosmic Boy, Invisible Kid, Lightning Lad, you know, they're all there. Really good story. Somebody's experimenting with them in the time stream is what I think was going on. Okay. So that's it, guys. You know, a little short video there. Show off some stuff I got. I got to slow down, talk about it a little bit. And, you know, I think I'm going to watch one of these movies and see if it'll knock me out. Maybe the morning after, I don't know. I'm feeling gotcha the morning after. It's going to be a VHS kind of night. Because it's going to be my movies and my tang. I got some tang.